How are we doing today, everybody? This is another episode of Relatively Thinking with your host, Cody.
And I'm Sean. Today, you guys seen the Facebook post? We're going to be doing a quote unquote triangular conversation today. We're going to do the basic, we're going to hit them with the 5 fast facts, and then we're going to dive into the topic. You want to elaborate?
Yeah, so essentially what we're going to is we're going to talk about the infamous Bermuda Triangle along with some of the lesser known other triangle regions of the globe that are surrounded by lots of stigmas and potential paranormal activities.
Yeah, and I guess, without further ado, we'll hop right into it with the 5 fast facts. Number one. Now, I'd imagine you probably heard something or glanced and seen something about this. So, scientists, they were drilling through the Antarctica ice shelf. Ice shelf. That sounds weird. And they found life 3,000 feet below the wow, that's an
Ice shelf.
Yeah. So, just something kind of new that I did learn was how, fish and shit survive underneath the water was the fact that the ice creates insulation and it holds everything down there. And if there's like some weird chemical imbalance where there's like some type of bacteria in there, it can cause the whole lake to freeze.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how you tell if the lake's healthy when it doesn't freeze, so on and so forth. So, obviously, Antarctica, not a lot of bacteria, so they definitely got a pretty healthy ocean down there. But the animals they found, it wasn't like they were seeing fish or anything like that. So if you watch a video, conveniently they drilled right all the way down, right when they get down, they break through the water. The bottom's right there, and then boom, there's a rock, perfect, like it's just chilling there. All on this rock, you kind of see like these weird, like little stringy, and then like a cap, the little mushrooms, and it was like other little things in there. Stationary animals. The way they described it was like sponge-like.
Yeah.
So now the way they put it was like, oh, this is crazy. How could life survive in something like this? But then we're finding, and we talked about this, the water bears on Mars. We talked, there's a lot of other signs of life. I mean, they're even finding like, or they're coming up with ideas. Venus filled with gas and shit like that. They're coming up with ideas on how some type of life could survive that, and all this other shit.
The one thing that we know about life in general is that it will live in some absolutely insane circumstances.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to think when this planet was created, when life was first, created on this planet or dropped on it, however you believe, whatever. It wasn't a habitable ecosystem. Like it built that through itself, through multiple evolutions.
Yeah.
And so therefore, I mean, this place probably wasn't livable per se in the beginning.
Yeah, I mean that's exactly how it was. It was supposed to be this crazy volcanic thing, and that's how we formed the land masses and the tectonic plates and so on and so forth. So
science's description, yeah.
Yeah, like evolution. I mean, it's just gonna occur everywhere. I mean, we're only slowly, like, who knows? Like I think I brought this up previously in another episode talking about emissions and so on and so forth with Biden coming in trying to calm down the greenhouse gas, like all this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
What happens when all those things go away? Do we still? Because I mean, we've only grown to breathe in all this
nitrogen.
Yeah, and all this like crazy shit that we emit into the air. So it's like, what happens when we stop doing that? Are we evolved to be able to withstand that? Are we like? I mean, I'm not sure the exact makeup. I know we're supposed to be like 3% nitrogen, and that's all I know. Well, it goes deeper, but we've kind of evolved to be that way. Did we evolve to be 3% nitrogen, or did we start that way?
Well, no. So obviously, a lot of like the pollution in the air and the reason why we're in a nitrogen-rich environment is due to us. Is due to us destroying shit.
Yeah.
And and obviously, like the plastics have an effect on the air. The carbon deposits have an effect on the air. Everything we do has an effect on the air. So, I mean, that would definitely be us evolving to deal with the destitute that we created. So obviously,
essentially.
Yeah. So obviously, as that were to get better, we would then go through another evolution of sorts of being able to healthily, deal with the environment. Obviously, it's not going to be, there's a reason why you have so many, deaths to cancers and other things is because of that body was not ready to deal with this climate.
Yeah, it wasn't.
This circumstances, 5G, different electronics, all these things have an effect. You have somebody that was born in the 30s and born in the 40s, and they're not their body's not used to dealing with this stuff.
A lot of cases completely healthy, and all of a sudden, boom, that one thing just kind of hits, like that cell opens up or something like that.
Exactly.
Like, they get emitted to the radio waves. Before we go on, I just wanted to say that would have been a cool fast fact. Did you see that the plastic eating bacteria?
No, I did not. That's pretty cool.
So it kind of goes with the garbage island or whatever over there in the Pacific.
Yep.
Like there was like that big idea at the beginning of like 2020 where they take a big net, and just scoop it all up. But what happens with the wildlife and all that shit? So they ended up not even scientists, college students, I believe it was, were the ones that found some type of bacteria that thrives off of eating away at plastic.
Which is good, but the one thing we always have to realize is we tend to look for a quick fix, find it, and then let it ride.
Yeah. And now
what
look
does
at
that become?
Yeah.
And what effects does that have on us as it thrives and creates more?
Yeah, the negative. What do the negative effects have?
Exactly. Which, no, granted, we do need to find things for plastic. So don't get me wrong. I feel like but we have a problem of putting a Band-Aid, especially in America, of putting a Band-Aid on things and being like, all right, it's good.
Yeah, and then we'll deal with it 100 years later when I'm dead.
Yeah, and that's what we're dealing with right now is a compilation of, Band-Aids.
Yeah, I know I'm just getting a little bit, off of the fact, but it's kind of like a termite,
Yeah.
Like what happens when you release that bacteria and you're cleaning up this whole ocean thing, and then it spreads, and all of a sudden,
And what does it do to humans?
Yeah, what does it do to the buildings that humans live in? What does it do to structures we build?
Does it become so hungry and so devouring that even the new plastics starts to take over? And what happens when we ingest it?
Yeah, that would be down the line a lot of years, but
but still, those are things you have to think about before you just throw something out there.
Yeah, throw a bacteria into the ocean. But basic, on the main topic here, I mean, it kind of backs up the whole Mars with the life on Mars and all this stuff, and it really makes you open your eye to be like, damn, like 3,000 feet below an ice shelf, there's something just cool in it. So what's happening? What's happening underneath the ice shelf on Mars? What's happening underneath that, or what's happening to those planets that are strictly like a ice type planet?
And if you want to believe the whole planet Nibiru aspect of it, it would orbit in between Mars and Earth. Those would be the two closest planets within its orbit. So therefore, it's very likely that life could be on either one.
I mean, I think it's very likely that life can be anywhere.
During the collision, it created the asteroid belt, but Mars is on this side of the asteroid belt. So just a thought process.
Yeah, hell yeah. Damn, yeah. I mean, I just want to go throw this out there because it's cool. They found that life, all that. I believe life can live anywhere.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's how it will find a way. Like you even think about humans, like the thing that we love to make movies about and make shows about and write books about are the people that come back from like these absolutely insane situations where the percentages of them even making it out alive are literally less than 1%, and they thrive and they become
there's a lot of cases where they said it was impossible. The dude died for like 20 minutes and then came back to life, and then all of a sudden, I don't know if you've seen that shit, he died. So like he won like a scratch ticket or something, died, came back to life, and they're like oh okay, right? So he went, bought a scratch ticket, won like I think it was like 25,000, right? And then to reenact it on the news, he did another scratch ticket, won 250,000. Which is crazy. But I don't know, like you think about what's that fucking what's that? Yeah. What's that new not Hiroshima? Is it Hiroshima? No, what's the what's it, Russia or Ukraine? The big nuclear that blew up.
Yeah, Chernobyl.
Chernobyl. So they actually found bacteria living in Chernobyl and like some of the highest parts of the radioactive.
Like the fucking incredible Hulk shit right
there. Yeah, exactly. Like it's legitimate. Like what happens when that shit fucking breaks out? You got a bunch of green dudes running around knocking people out.
Fucking raging hard.
Yeah.
All right, so for my fast fact, my first one. So this one's very interesting. So it's called Light and Bound. So there's these new optical antennas that they're trying to create that instead of it being like, our normal antennas and stuff like that. So basically what it does is it's a spiral. And the way that it takes in and releases light is much more beneficial than what we already have. Energy, electricity, so on and so forth. So
coils, Tesla.
Almost sort of similar to an extent, but it's almost like, if you look, it's just like a vortex. So what this does, basically they're stating that, like, because obviously with the communications that we have nowadays and the different avenues and the clouds and this, that, and the other, like there's a cap. Like there is a point in time where we will no longer be able to utilize those markets and those avenues because there's so much information constantly passing through it. So what they're saying, what this will do is this will basically be adding so the way that their description of it is adding more letters to the alphabet that light has. So they're extending its vocabulary. So basically it's like, in our foreseeable future, completely uncapping data restrictions. There will be no cap because of the way that this is able to discern and release information. So I thought that was very interesting because that is something that I've thought about quite a bit frequently is, like with people sitting at home and remote jobs, one of the issues is that all these internet companies that are greedy as fuck are trying to cap certain people in cap areas and stuff like that because they say they're going overboard, which to me doesn't make sense because most of these people had jobs at certain places where they were utilizing the internet. So realistically, they just want more money.
It's the same difference.
But anyways, so I mean that is a realistic thing though. Is we're utilizing more bandwidth, we're utilizing more, storage. So at what point in time does it stop?
Yeah, I mean the cloud can only get so big. I mean that's kind of goes with the PS5, going from hard drive to SD. I mean they're trying to find more ways to be storage compatible, I guess.
Yeah, in a smaller format.
Yeah, so those are like the cellular antennas you're talking about? Like not the antenna, like towers almost.
So no. So this would be literally like a box in your house, and that's just how it discerns the information. So like this would be a part of your computer. It would be a part of your,
Yeah, I'm not sure how I feel about that. Like I don't know. Is it like? Was that just like a scientific breakthrough, like a new thing that they found?
Well, so they've been doing it for a while, but they just came public with it on the 25th, which was yesterday.
Damn.
So this is something that they've been testing extensively, and they're at the point to where they're confident that they think that at some point in time they can mass produce this, and us get better for it. Because it's not just, this is light. So this is so much more. Like what we're thinking of in telecommunications is just scratching the surface because you have the telecommunications aspect. But if it's literally downloading a light signal, light is the illusion of what we're seeing. It's the reflection of the bouncing off. That's how we see what we see. That you literally start to get into the aspect of maybe potentially talking about teleportation. Maybe talking about, I mean, there's so many
light,
doors.
Like light travel.
Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy. There was one Elon Musk. He was talking about light travel specifically, and the fact that the colonization of universes would be a huge thing in like the next 100, 200, 300 years.
Yeah.
They like the very soon future, which I don't know. Like if you tie in some of these like discoveries they're having, like it's getting kind of crazy. You think about it.
Yeah,
like,
these are just what they're allowing us to be released to.
Yeah.
Imagine what they've really seen.
Exactly. With the Neuralink. That whole thing with Elon Musk, and then you have this. So then you got this box, you got this chip in your head, you got this box that holds the storage. It's like I don't even know. Like that's you really think about it, it's just becoming more of like an idea where you don't have to speak, you're just connected. Like you walk into a room and like think lights on, boom, lights on. Like I think that's getting really interesting.
Yes, there's definitely a lot of there's good and bad to that.
Yeah,
your thoughts being out there, but it also is the possibility of, our minds are capable of all of these other things, telekinesis, all these things, the ESPs. Does that, whatever the fuck, Neuralink,
Neuralink.
Does that give you the ability to access those? It's another thought process.
Yeah, I mean that's why you kind of lose you lose that what do you call it, the human aspect.
But do you? Because that's a human. You just don't realize it because you don't have access to it. because you were taught not to.
Yeah, I guess no definition is really true.
Because you're just living in the defined state of what a human can do. If you look at right now,
what a human's been told.
What a human can do now is completely more advanced than what it was even 30 years ago. The speed that people can run, the height that people can jump, they've been exceeded.
Yeah, that's more advanced. That was hundreds of years ago. We were much more advanced with that hundreds of years ago. And like you see only really like the athletes and people like that are doing it. But then it's like those native tribes that are cut off where
they can do those things.
Exactly. Like there was a whole huge ass thing about night vision. Because these people aren't, I'm not sure what the rays are called, but like your phone UV ray, whatever the fuck it is.
Blue.
Yeah. So blue. What is it? Blue rays?
It's the blue light. Yeah, blue rays.
Yeah. So
blue light rays.
So they never got exposed to that, so their eyesight never changed. They always just adapted. So seeing in the light, seeing being on the make, and then like breathing underwater. Like I mean, there's like a few humans out there that are notorious that aren't on those crazy islands and go and spear fish for 6 minutes underwater.
What's his name in the Russian guy who like is known for like sitting in the ice and
he just does it for fun, right?
Yeah, he's just fucking he's like cool as shit. Yes. He's done like this fully submerged for like 3 minutes in like ice water. Damn. And like holding his breath longer than anybody else can hold their breath out like in regular water, and he's in ice water and getting out of it and running a mile and shit. Like the dude's nuts. He's awesome.
Yeah, well, I mean, see, that kind of just goes to show like if your body wasn't really exposed.
And that kind of ties into both of those things. Just the ability to survive is also the ability to adapt.
Yeah. Oh hell yeah. Damn. Yeah, I like how that worked. That's nice. My second fact. Ancient Etruscans. Etruscans?
I have to look at the word. I don't know what you're saying.
Etruskan. Etruscan?
Sure.
I'm almost positive that's the way. I've definitely read about them before, but the ancient Etruscan paintings. So they were like from back. Well, actually, I'll tell you right now. So this is kind of like the new way they're doing of dating, I guess you could say. But it's not like carbon dating. It's not like they're finding a fossil or bone. They're doing something like that. It's more of paintings, images, and shit like that. Like they go on a wall, they figure out, and so. These ancient Etruscan, that's it. Etruscan paintings revealed their underworld. Now, they were supposed to be from 2,500 years ago, which was like 600 BCE, I guess, or BC, whatever you want to call it. Revealed an underworld filled with rocks, trees, and loads of water and all this crazy stuff, which is rather strange for an underworld. But the way they figured this out was this new thing. It's called MHX. Now, it's a new way of dating back, as of right now, just pictures. It's called multi-illumination hyperspectral extraction. So what it is just dozens and dozens of pictures of infrared and ultraviolet rays, and they take it and they kind of get what they get. So I guess the way they first discovered this was at ancient Egypt. They had some crazy weird blue dye or blue painting or something that was only emitted, like you can only see it through like a certain type of ray, like is only one singular. Like most things apparently are, you can see them in multiple rays of spectrum. So they found that through that, and now they're dating back 2,500 BC. So I wanted to show you the picture, but I deleted it. So the picture was just like this red little figure outlined, and like you kind of had the hand up, two-dimensional, all this shit. And when they applied this MHX format to it, it became this dude who had white eyes, or white with a black pupil. He had a headdress on, and he had some crazy tool in his hand. Now it's not like some crazy event. This was like pre-Roman power, but it was still like at a time where tools were a thing.
Yeah, so like Persian Empire.
Yeah, so it wasn't like oh, he's got a stone tool, that's fucking crazy. No, but it was just like, how many other things have been hidden? How many other things have we missed? Because there's all throughout Europe, all throughout. Actually, I think we talked about this very early episode. Europe, Northern Africa, a little bit of Egypt, and a lot of the Mediterranean islands have all had like these crazy, weird, undescribable hieroglyphs, right? So it was like, and like, well, they all had like the same things in common, which was very uncommon for the time that they were made, because there was no connection, communication, there's lines and all this shit. So like, we put that MHX format to it. What else does that show us? Because like, you see a bird, but that's really about it. You see a bird in Egypt and Africa too, but you don't know what it is. You just see like an outline. I mean, I just thought it was cool because we talked about carbon dating and how
it's insufficient.
Yeah. So I mean, I figured this was just kind of like maybe their effort to try to get onto something more. I'm fucking losing.
Correct.
Yeah, correct or fuck. What is that word? Like every time, like it's more efficient.
Yeah.
More efficient. But I don't know. I thought that was pretty cool.
That is pretty cool. That could definitely do. I mean, you could take that to essentially cave paintings that they have from 10,000 years ago.
Yeah, most definitely.
And you could do that to a whole lot of things and kind of get a little bit better,
Yeah, I tried to figure out like along the lines with the stone tools because like as soon as like I seen the side by side picture, I was like, whoa, like that's fucking crazy. That had to have been a long time ago, in 600 BC. But apparently the Homeo habilis, Homeo, one of those fucking cavemen type 2.6 million years ago were the first signs of them using stone tools. So that's a fun fact right there. But yeah. Yeah, I can't really imagine. You got stone tools. They must have had some type of way of using dye and shit. Like, I don't know. It's only going to further more. The more we use this type of format, if it is efficient, as they say it is.
Yeah, absolutely. Progression.
Mm.
All right. So
that's a big thing already. Evolution, man.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
So speaking of evolution, so scientists are now using the Doppler radar to peer inside cells. So
like
why
this
is yes? So why this is important is whenever they're trying to test like vaccines and stuff on on certain bacterias, basically they have to do the start and end process. Hit the vaccine, look at the cell, wait till the culture's up, and then look at the cell and see. Now they're able to watch the cell, hit the vaccine, watch the vaccine grow in the cell.
Is this where the dancing cell came from?
Possibly. I don't know, but this is and not only that, but like again, this opens up so many avenues that people don't think about. There's a lot of like diseases and a lot of hereditary diseases and hereditary issues like diabetes and like this and that and the other. They're in our cells. They're in our they're in the if you're able to potentially find ways to change that, you could basically cure people of those diseases, i.e. like incurable diseases, diabetes, AIDS, which isn't incurable because Magic Johnson's always cured. But anyways, but so many different things that are supposed to be incurable.
Charlie Sheen made it a while so far too.
Yeah, he was fucking wild.
Yeah, but that is rather intense. So the Doppler, like
think about
radar.
Yeah, but think about it. You're utilizing that radar over this massive scale to give you pinpointed. Now think about that. You take that same radar, you minimize it to a small. It's going to be able to still give you a huge scale of everything. It's smart. And you have to think that Doppler radar penetrates because how does it see through these storms and these clouds and trees and this and that? You know what I mean? How does it see through all of this?
Oh, that's intense. Yeah. Shit. I mean, I'm just kind of surprised it took them that long to be like, oh man, cells. But
it's probably sound like the dumbest way possible.
Yeah, or either that. I mean, if you think about it, like if they do find like some way to be able to study the cells and find out what makes it tick and so on and so forth, it's definitely a profitable thing. And you just release it like, hey, we can help fix you for free. Man,
that'll happen. But it's probably just like the fucking office prank. Hey, what did Frank eat for lunch last night? Oh shit, went too deep. Oh, what the fuck? That stupid shit happens. That's fine.
Okay. I don't know. I think that's it's rather interesting. I was going on so I've seen like multiple articles about it. It was the dancing. It was scientists have found that like I don't know. Apparently, I don't want to say cells are supposed to be still. It was something about it. It was just that it's a new thing where they study and they're dancing cells. Like these cells are moving much more frequently than they should. So, I mean, essentially, they're supposed to be in a liquid base, correct? Like a cell is supposed to be categorized as a liquid material, so it moves, but at a slight.
Well, I mean, you would assume that within a living. I mean, maybe that's the way they taught it, but I never thought of it as just a finite, like it's stuck there thing. I mean, you think it's constantly moving, it's constantly changing, it's constantly growing. Depending on your immune system, depending on what attracts it, what hits it. Think of I always think of it like skin cells. Every time you touch something, you just killed all those skin cells, and now your skin cells are regrowing. That's why they're the fastest growing cells in your body. So I feel like they're always moving. Maybe in a non-quantifiable, human eye aspect, but they're always moving because how do they get to the next spot? Like, how do they get to where they need to be? How does your immune system send things to, you know what I mean? Like,
No, I don't. I mean, like red blood cells, like blood cells in general, just cells.
Yeah.
They're moving. That's like probably the
maybe yes, they're
variety
they're being helped by the bloodstream, but still moving.
Yeah, most
generated by the heart. But some aspect of movement. I feel like
I'm gonna get rid of that because that's gonna annoy me. Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, that's not gonna be something that we will find out, where it's just we know how your cells tick. We know why you have that weird little thing that you do, or we know this and we know that.
Well,
we can cure it
and we still think we know. I feel like something like this will help us discern. Because again, a lot of like our cellular research is based off of cells that are now outside of the body. So we're still not even seeing them work the way they're supposed to work inside the body.
And another misconception as well is just like if a cell is different or something like that, we have the normal cliche way of thinking, like, oh, you're perfect, you all this, but then you dive into people that have like these diseases, or not even diseases, they have like ADHD, they have dyslexia, like some form of autism, all this stuff. We just immediately look like, oh, a deformity. Whereas, maybe hopefully this research can kind of like come out and develop like
potentially, and maybe we could use it on the brain too. If we can use it on it, because we don't know shit about our brains.
Yeah.
We have almost zero knowledge. Like we know things about our brains, but we don't know how it works. We don't know what it's doing, how it does anything. It's a complete mystery to us. We know certain parts of the brains are
what holds what.
And are responsible for certain things, but we still don't even understand how those work. And so I feel like maybe utilizing this could also open up avenues into that. Well, also you have to worry about the aspect of, our brain is essentially shooting electricity through our body in order to make it work. So does that radar affect said responses?
Yeah, electronic waves.
Yeah. But, they've been, killing people for years trying to figure this shit out. So
yeah, most definitely.
What's to stop them for now?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. All right. Last one. No, this was cool. So, I mean, it does have. So there's a formula. It's called a diamond something or something, but it's the ability to be able to trace everybody back to one solemn ancestor. It's like some weird fucking thing. But there was a 12-year-old girl, and I'm not sure if you heard this, but studying her heritage, she found out that almost every single president except Van Buren
are related.
All related to this dude, King John Lackland, Plantagenet, some like weird like 1400 fucking name, but this was rather interesting. And the main point, like how I found that, was the fact that it was Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton that were so closely related. And like, I don't know, like I just kind of started feeding him from that, and it was like a 12-year-old girl. So I guess, I can't really say all the presidents, but her study was based off of 19 presidents. Now 19 out of 50,
it goes bigger 53? Than that. I think it was 5, even including Obama. Really? It was like 5 presidents that don't have a relation. And I think it was also the ones that don't were assassinated. I believe. I'd have to look into that. So don't quote me on that.
Oh, it's like, no, because Kennedy was tied in. Robert Kennedy, they were all tied in, and they go so on and so forth. And that's another thing that I did mention too, that some of them were bloodline, others were through marriage. So,
which is the Bill Clinton because of Hillary. But it's funny because if you remember that one episode where I say that Hillary was handpicked to be the wife of the president, and that's why they had Bill. Which would make sense as to that, whereas that's the whole episode about the hand.
Yeah. The was it all-seeing hand?
No,
hand. The people that control shit.
Yeah,
essentially.
Yeah.
Damn, that's cool. That connects. But that was a good quick fast facts.
Quick.
30 minutes. Jesus Christ.
I think that's probably good for today, anyways, because I don't know if there's much substance with these. They're more just pretty cut and dry. All right, so now we will go ahead and obviously get into the main course of the show for today, which is the triangles. So everybody has heard of the Bermuda Triangle. We all know that, there's the theories that things go in, don't come out, radar doesn't work, all normal communications don't work, blah, 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 blah. So it would have taken way too much research to try to figure out, because we still don't know as why these things are happening. So before we even tackle that, we're going to tackle the other more unknown ones, while still mentioning, obviously,
the main.
So the first two that I have are close to home, which is why I want to bring them up, which is pretty interesting how they are close to home. So the first one is Bridgewater Triangle, which is right down the street. Yes, it is. It's a 200 square mile triangle, obviously, in southeast Mass, which is over Taunton. If you're from Massachusetts, you know where Taunton is. If not, look up on a map, or don't, doesn't matter. So there's been reports of major UFO sightings, like a ridiculous amount. Probably majority of the cases in the state were just over this area. Mysterious animals, different creatures, humanoids, so on and so forth, all types of crazy shits. So one of the more common ones is called the Thunderbird Sightings. So they're saying that they're seeing multiple people, not just one, but multiple sightings of this pterodactyl-like creature with a 8 to 12 foot wingspan. Is claimed to be seen in the Hockomock Swamp and all throughout Taunton.
Wow. That's a fun fact. The pterodactyl, by the way, is like one of the most least found
fossils.
Yeah, fossils. And then also mid-sized, like velociraptor and shit like that. Damn. It's rather crazy because I didn't hear about this at all until I started researching it. How close to home some crazy shit could be. I did see a gander of that, of the very strange and weirdly shaped landscapes in that triangle.
Yeah, you have different stones that look like faces and stuff like that.
Damn.
Yeah, it's so it gets better though. So you have your normal shit, like obviously, like I said, the UFO sightings, the cattle and calf mutilations and stuff like that you see. But this is one that, okay, so before I get to the fun fact, we'll say, and it's also said to be cursed by Native Americans, which the curse is to have multiple paranormal activities, basically, for this point on.
Damn, Pilgrim screwed us.
H.P. Lovecraft, author H.P. Lovecraft, who is known for one of the most famous cults. I'll call them a cult. So I don't know if it's really a cult, but it's basically a cult. Chulu.
Never heard of it.
The fucking monster, like the sea monster that's got like fucking tentacles and shit. It's spelled like Cthulu. You never heard of it? Okay, anyways, there's like this
kind
huge
of like a Kraken
cult
type thing.
Sort of, but there's like this huge cult that believes in like Chulu. Like it's like this like massive thing. Like it's insane. Look it up.
Kind of like that movie, the Mist. You ever seen the Mist?
Yeah.
The Mist comes and it's supposed to be like an interdimensional type creature.
So, anyways, he wrote a lot of his stuff based off of that area. And in a lot of his books, the towns that he created in his books were based off of all the towns within the triangle.
Wow.
And the counties and stuff around it. So I thought that was very interesting.
Yeah. And he doesn't like speak out about it either,
No,
right?
he creates different names for them, but they're based off of that. He's from the area. He based a lot of his, thoughts and ideas off of that area. I think it was that one too. No, not that one. Next one.
So that's pretty fucking interesting, to be honest. I mean, it's kind of like that's the word I was looking for besides efficiency earlier. The consistency. Consistency. So I don't know. I find it a little bit different that he wouldn't like kind of release and say like, hey, this is. I mean, I'm sure he did come out.
He was also from like the 30s.
Oh, they back then. So it's more about that's probably like when the fiction. Actually, that's definitely when the fiction. I don't know what's that radio broadcast where the world was gonna end, all that. So that was definitely when the fiction phase probably started, coming into play pretty heavily.
Yeah, but you didn't want to count it as real places, or else people would have blown your shit up as being fake or this or that. You had to be cautious.
Very biased remarks coming against you there. Damn. I don't know. That's fucking. I don't know. I want to do some more research on that Thunderbird thing.
I would honestly like to field trip it at some point in time.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be a terrible idea.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Obviously,
places of
that
sighting.
hole.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go a wheelchair.
Nah, fuck
that shit.
I'm gonna go to the swamp in a wheelchair. I mean, what I like about it is, so me originally like living in a city for a long time, like people who are from cities and stuff, you would never like your mind is always like, how in the fuck could something be hiding? How in the fuck could these things not be seen all the time? How if you come out here, you would know why shit doesn't get seen all the time and shit gets lost. Like this, like these woods here are fucking woods. Like there's miles of not seeing shit, but just trees, mountains, everything. There's so many places to, not be seen if you don't want to be seen.
Yeah, and I mean, I'd like to think compared to a city, like, I don't know, you come out to like the eastern Massachusetts and shit, a little bit away from Boston, like obviously you do get the woodsy area, but when you're in a city, it's kind of just like, it's understandable. Everyone's everyone's doing something, you don't walk past people like, hey, you're all doing your own thing. When you get out of a city, you go to the suburbs, you get closer communities, you get people that are just more intact with each other rather than the outside world, and it becomes much more secluded. And I feel that's like a big portion of why you don't hear about a lot of these things.
Yeah, people don't want to let it out because if you let something out like that, then you're gonna have your three types of people that come. You gotta have your news and your reporters and like your telecommunication people trying to write books, people trying to do all this.
Yeah. And then branding
that
a name
aspect
upon your stuff.
Then you have the aspect of you have the ghost hunters and the people that want to research, basically what I just said, we're gonna go fucking, but like to the like super extent, and then they're trampling all over your shit in your yard and this, that, and you got trespassing calls,
attention and all that shit, bringing up shit you don't want to hear about.
And then you have the Bible thumpers. This place is blasphemous. You have your, it's just that, and none of those are positive things. Why would you want, like, if it's not killing things, if they're not, you know what I mean? If it's not killing people, if it's not harming anything, sometimes it's just better to let shit be.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't know. There's always going to be like that natural curiosity.
Oh, yeah.
I think within the city too. Like, I don't know why I'm jumping back to it, but the city, you kind of you're there. So it's just like you're in such a big spot that if something was going to happen, like everyone would know, or, it would just be bigger than, like you're out in the woods with your friend and then you see something and you go tell people and they're just like, yeah, you didn't see that.
Yeah, exactly.
There wasn't 100,000 more people to watch at the same time.
Yeah, exactly.
Damn, that's cool. That's cool. I was really intrigued about the Bridgewater one, and then just because it was so close. Onward. So I did two of the more popular ones, obviously the Bermuda, and then it's kind of sister, the Dragon's Triangle. So the Bermuda, it's in the Atlantic. Dragon's Triangle is in the Pacific. Now I'll start with the Bermuda. So, I mean, it all started. I wouldn't even want to say it all. Yeah. So it all started 1492, Columbus. So as he's sailing, I don't even want to pronounce the name. It was a Caribbean island because that's where he landed first before he essentially, found America, whatever. It was like Guahani or some fucking thing. But in the journal, whatever that he wrote, it was said that he's seen some crazy, strange lighting above in the sky. It was like, abnormal, all this stuff. And that was like 1 or 2 days before they arrived at some of the islands in the Caribbean. A lot of people thought like, hey, he passed through, now they're in the Bermuda, they're seeing this shit. And it was supposed to be the first sighting of, really any phenomenon in the Bermuda. And the next one's pretty popular. Now, if you look up the Bermuda, I'm not sure if they still like, I don't know, I'm not sure if it's like a main thing, but Flight 19, it was like a naval flight unit, obviously. There's the pictures of where the planes underneath the water buried in the sand, like they found them and all this shit. So Flight 19, they were running a test. They were coming around Bermuda. They were doing all these things. I believe the naval port for them was like fucking right off the coast, or it might have been North Carolina or something, or South Carolina. Or it was lower than, I'm not sure, but
pretty sure it's Florida.
Florida.
Yeah.
So the last thing that they had from these dudes, the last kind of a transcript from their flight records was the captain saying, "We are entering white water. I don't know where we are. The water looks green. No, the water is white." And they lost all communication. Flight 19 disappeared. And the exact places where they went to go look for them, they weren't there. They didn't see anything sunk, all this shit. And then all of a sudden it pops up, a couple decades later. The Connemara the Fourth was a ship. It was, keep in mind, it was abandoned. It was found abandoned south of the island of Bermuda. The Carroll A. Deering was a schooner. I'm not sure what the word means, but a schooner ship. This one was found abandoned, washed ashore in North Carolina. There was no sights of either of these crews. There was well over 30 people on both cruise ships, or ships in general, that took off, never returned. Conveniently, now you can see this further on more so, there was hurricanes recorded during this time period. Now, KC-135 straddle tankers were these two pilots running a test thing. It was during World War II, so they were just trying to be, up, at it. Everything's supposed to be cool. So it was like two flights or two airplanes. They went off and they're doing all these things, training and so on and so forth. Somehow, these planes collided. Now that's fucking strange when you got the air to your fucking limit, or the sky to your limit. So the original report was that these planes collided, and there was two crash sites 160 miles away. So
that's interesting.
Yeah. So well, I'm gonna explain. So furthermore, more investigation was done, and it turns out both these crash sites were pile up of seaweed, like fucking wood, whatever, and then buoys.
Driftwood,
driftwood, exactly. So and then buoys all tied up, knotted together. So not only was it strange that these two planes collided, or so they thought, both of these planes were gone, without a trace, just hopped up right up out of nowhere. And just a quick little fact about it. So from 1800. I guess since we kind of started recording these, incidents, from 1800 to all the way to 2019, like even 2017, there was you can find it online. There was a incident with the Air Force where an unknown number of people were lost and an unknown number of people were dead, and that was in 2017. Now all these date to 2019. So in 219 years. 924 people have been considered dead. 25 have been considered survived. And these ones that have been considered survived are obviously just like, oh, he's crazy. He's seen some.
I would love to hear their.
Exactly. And 25 of them out of like 219 years, where there was dozens of more cases. There was cases where people just went out. They didn't even know they're going through the Bermuda and they were just gone. There's that, the pyramid. Yeah, so I was going to try to touch on that. I just didn't get time to.
No, I know. I figured I'd show you.
Yeah, so that's another interesting factor. But I'm going to get to that. There is those theories that I have. But yeah, I mean, the Bermuda, there was a missing, it was called the Douglas DC-3, 32 passengers just gone. It was a ship just straight up gone out of nowhere. And then all these others, so they're blaming a couple of those that were abandoned, like all the crewmates were abandoned, they're blaming it on hurricanes. That hurricanes just destroyed the crew, did all this shit, all that. And now this is 1940s, 1950s. Now you think if a hurricane hit a boat in the 1940s, 1950s enough to kill well over 30 crew people or all this shit, you'd think the boat would have sank.
Yeah, no, it would have been thrashed, it would have been ripped apart. I've been a part of many hurricanes.
That's what I'm saying. And then you date it back. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you date it back to even like, when you're in the ocean with a boat.
That's what I'm saying. You're not stabilized. You're not anchored it down. So that boat's gonna. So in that hurricane, you just don't have the winds. You're in the ocean, so you have tidal waves. Like literally, you have waves that
tossing
are 40 to 60 to 80 feet. In the middle of the ocean.
Yeah.
So think about, boats that were, built back then. You're getting battered by, 60 to 150 mile per hour winds. And you're facing within those winds, you're also facing swells, 60, 80 feet.
Yeah.
Like that ship doesn't survive. I'm sorry.
Yeah. There was a picture from the Deering, the Carroll A. Deering, the schooner. It was 1923, 2 days before it was found in North Carolina. Before it went off, 2 days before it was found. So it had 5 masts, big fucking large thing. It was supposed to be like 100 feet tall, but it literally just looked like those regular cruise ships that you get on when you retire and shit. So like I don't know. That was a big thing with the hurricanes. They're like, oh yeah, it was just a hurricane. Like there was a large amount of hurricanes that season. Blah 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 blah.
Well, we need to have answers to everything. So if the answer doesn't, if an answer isn't given to us, what will be created?
And then there was another. So with the Deering, when it was found off the coast of North Carolina, there was another ship that followed the same lining of that ship. It was called the Hewitt or something like that. And there was records of the Hewitt, large amount of people. Ship was never seen. It was supposed to have followed the Deering. It was not followed, but it was supposed to have been
Same path.
same area, so on and so forth. The Bermuda, I mean, it's just filled. I'm gonna get to the theories. I don't want to waste my fucking ammo right now.
Yeah.
But there's just like a ridiculous amount of theories, and I remember even fucking 9-10 years old finding those like quick little books, and then it's just like it even tells you. And the craziest shit is I figured about Flight 19 when I was like 9, and it was just like I don't even know. It's just like they were supposed to be gone, disappeared, and that was like one of the first wreckages actually found. Like there was like other things in the Bermuda, the USS Cyclops, where they left Barbados and the ship just something happened, just sank. Never found again, and it was found, or they said it was found. I'm not sure, but then there was like 4 or 5 more cruise ships where it was just like they leave Santa Maria or not Santa Maria. Fuck, what the fuck is that? They leave all these islands and they do all this shit, and it's just like they go missing, they get sunk. This happens, this happens, this happens. And the worst part about it is that most of these are from the Navy. They're from.
Sorry, I have to look something up for fact checking.
Yeah, so like if our government can't explain it, if our government's just like, yeah, it's hurricanes, the ship survived, but they must have just got hit by a wave and just fucking everyone got flown off. Even the people inside the ship, they just disappeared. The Bermuda, man, that's fucking. I don't know. And we'll get to the fucking theories. The theories are cool.
So I'm gonna go into mine when you talk about yours again. I'll continue looking, but I think I put something together, which is really insane. All right, so second one of mine, which is obviously the third triangle, is the Bennington Triangle. This is actually closer to us, actually. So this is in southwest Vermont, which is right above us, essentially. So this one's fairly interesting as well. So multiple people went missing from this triangular area from 1945 to 1950. Like a lot of fucking people just disappeared. So it's set in the Glastonbury Mountains, and so a couple things about it as well is the same normal things, sightings, potential humanoids, so on and so forth.
Crazy phenomenon.
Yeah, crazy phenomenon. And then also another fun sighting. Supposedly there's been multiple Bigfoot sightings in it, which this is in the fucking the mountains, the woods. Like there's definitely.
Yeah, I did see actually. Now that you bring that up, the Vermont one, I did see it was like probably like one of the most realistic because they had that show Hunting Bigfoot or whatever.
Yeah, to catch a Bigfoot or something.
Yeah. So there was one lady that she was like, I seen it. It was this big, walking through, and I was just like, what the fuck? And then they tried saying, like, oh, like sometimes a bear gets up on its hind legs and starts walking down all that shit. But it's like
you see a bear, a bear.
Yeah, waddling with his hands like this, like it's different from a person walking.
Yeah.
Going forward and shit. That's a tricky subject too. Bigfoot, it's rather strange, but
hide and seek champion of the world.
Yeah, no kidding. That was but damn, was it like I don't know? Was it just straight up like a Bigfoot thing? I mean, obviously it was like the
so another one
phenomenon.
is the book Shadow Child is also based off of it from an author around the area. And it's another horror book, obviously, paranormal activities horror book. This isn't, so there's not as much about this one, just that there's a lot of
consistent,
just the amount of people that just consistently disappeared and over a certain period of time. And, I'm sure multiple avenues of the paranormal community have decided to take, that was aliens, or that was this, or that was that. There's, anything in the woods like that, yes, people disappear. Like it happens, but when it's an abundance of people disappearing, maybe they're all the ones that saw Bigfoot. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean that's a little tricky too. So I mean that's the Appalachian Trail, kind of runs up right through there. So I mean there's already a lot of mystery going because hundreds of people go disappearing on the Appalachian Trail.
Yes.
Rather strange that one of the places closest to the start happens to be a triangular area where there's a large amount
of shit already going on.
Unidentified missing people. Shit. I mean, that was I thought about that for a while with the Appalachian Trail. It's like, you have these accounts now. Yeah, we have like these crazy bears, we have wolves, we have all these things. And I mean, it's typical for nature to take its course, but it's also typical for nature to not take or nature to take its course a different route. Like, sometimes, like, I don't know, like just the way the sharks don't all like they don't hunt humans.
No,
it's just like the way that they see you and they're portrayed, and it's like something moving, and you're on a surfboard, you might look like so on and so forth. So, I mean, yeah, some of those deaths can be explained. Some of those things can happen. There was actually two women hikers that wanted to walk the whole Appalachian Trail, where their bodies were mangled, and it wasn't like claws, it wasn't like this, that. It was just like their bodies were obliterated, and that's still a fucking mystery.
Yeah.
But damn, Bennington Triangle.
I can find it right now.
Yeah, that's an interesting one, and I want to see kind of where that correlates with Bridgewater, because Bridgewater is just about southeast, more south than east of us currently.
Yeah, so Taunton's like Taunton is basically southwest of Boston. So it's like closer to us than Foxborough.
Yeah.
So that would, I mean, I also would wonder how the next one that I'm talking about with Michigan. That's another triangle.
A triangle, yeah, right there
between the three of them.
I was trying to do that with the pyramids and shit. Dragon's Triangle. Now, this one's somewhat known, somewhat not. It's not. I mean, it's the same thing as the Bennington one. Like, there's not a lot on it. There's just the Japanese government being like, hey, like, this is weird, so no one's allowed there.
Yeah.
So, Dragon's Triangle. So, as the Bermuda's in the Atlantic, Dragon's Triangle is south of Tokyo. It's in the Pacific.
Mm-hmm.
Now, instead of being like that nice right triangle, right, it's more of an isosceles. So, like, it goes Japan goes a little bit out like this, and then it comes straight down, coming towards the Atlantic.
So scaling.
Scaling, yeah. Yeah, isosceles is just what? One long side?
Two of the sides the same length.
No,
and one's different.
And then
Scaling's all three different.
Okay, yeah, then there's equilateral and shit too. All right, that's just those three. But yeah, so Dragon's Triangle got a lot of recognition. Between 1950 and 1954, 9 ships disappeared with zero trace. Hundreds of people. Now you got to think, the Bermuda, you got 200.
What years were those?
1950 and 1954.
It's interesting.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's what I was going to tie into. But the Bermuda, 924 people were dead or missing, so on and so forth, between 217 or 19 years, or 21 years, now 221 years. But in this period, there's 4 years, 9 ships, well over, like, probably like 100 people per ship, maybe. Like, hundreds just vanished, gone. So that alerted the Japanese government. 1955 comes around. They send out this ship. It's called the Kayu Maru No. 5. And it was sent to investigate all these disappearances. They were trying to do, like, find something, throw sonograms. Yeah, to try to see if anything on the ocean floor, anything man-made, all that. Conveniently, it disappeared as well, without a trace. And then, also, in this triangle, islands disappear and reappear with no sudden thing. They're just gone, and then all of a sudden, like a couple years later, that island's there again. Now, there is a seismic theory to it.
I was gonna say almost like a tide.
Yeah, but at the like a seismic, if it's gonna have something like that, it's gonna develop over a large amount of years, where the island's gonna have the ability to come down, or the ocean level rises, but then it drops, and so on. So
tidal aspect. High tide and low tide.
Yeah.
On the beaches, stuff like that. So.
Yeah, but to the dramatic extent of these, like, they weren't just like, you get your couple palm trees and some sand. It was an island. Like, It wasn't like, so.
You have to also think about how badly we fucked up that area when we dropped those bombs on it.
Yeah.
Right before then.
Yeah, well, definitely in the Pacific, that's what loaded with pollution and shit too. I'm not sure if that could tell
Yeah,
you,
but it wouldn't have been that bad at that point in time.
Yeah. Oh yeah, 1950. Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you drop an atomic bomb on
That was in the 40s.
Yeah, on a landmass close to this area.
More cynical.
What were we talking about though? There was we were talking about something where they literally can like split an atom or something like that. They can cause earthquakes. CERN.
Yeah.
CERN.
Yeah.
Damn.
CERN.
That could have been the first case of it.
Well, so for whatever reason, I'm getting more of a cynical feeling on this.
Mm.
So in that aspect of, so they essentially just were involved in getting their ass kicked in World War II.
Yep.
They got bombed. They weren't in a great place.
Mm.
Your government is going to try to find new and innovative ways to strike back in some way, shape, or form.
Mm. Why not use something to give you the option to strike back?
Well, what if you're testing out these things in these areas and these ships and all these other things came to, saw it, got eye lines of it, so instead of allowing it to go out, you make the ships disappear, and then you cover it up by sending one of your own ships in there to also disappear to further the mystery.
Mm. Yeah, well, I mean, most of those 9 ships were military, so because of the war, because of that, they were trying to heighten the security. They were trying to have the ability to, see forthcoming things coming from the east of them.
Either that, or their enemy was sitting in there fucking them up, and they didn't want to admit to it, so they created just a cynical approach to it.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Fuck. I mean, there's a few options.
That are radioactive fucking shark or fucking whale based off of
the Ring of Fire.
Yeah, that is right.
Volcanic.
In there.
That's why the seismic thing came about. But it's kind of outside the Ring of Fire a little bit. But,
well, it's within it. The Ring of Fire wraps around Asia. Yeah, it wraps around through Asia, which Japan is a part of. In that section, it wraps around that, goes all the way up to Russia, which is still Asia, through Alaska down the Pacific. So that's your ring. So that's the opposite side of the California side of the ring.
And yeah, if you think about it, if it's like just outside of that ring too, like if it's just outside,
it's within that seismic activity.
Yeah, it could really experience a lot of the aftershock waves, like those waves coming through from it.
Which could explain the disappearances of islands. And you have to think too. So say those islands naturally rest below sea level.
Yeah.
So
sea level
may
sinks.
Be massive. So low tide, you're seeing it, and now again, it won't be like a tidal thing because it's it's closer to the middle of the ocean. But for let's say current basis, let's say the current's more of an out current. Therefore, you're seeing it. The current comes back in. It's covering the entire island.
Interesting.
Just some thoughts.
Yeah. I just want to get to these theories. So, the seismic events. Let's see here. So, one of the most popular ones that is just backed by the scientific community is the methane deposits throughout the ocean floor. Now, when methane gets to, I think they said it was like 64 degrees Fahrenheit, which would be crazy at the bottom of the ocean floor. It kind of burns up and then releases these methane bubbles. Now, what they said was that these methane bubbles had the capability to sink a ship.
I can see that.
Really?
Yeah. Well, think about how massive they could be. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I could see that. Then you get some crazy air, and
you're getting the explosion, and then with that explosion, you get methane gas.
Yeah.
With that explosion, you can also have the suction afterwards.
Yeah, the downward current.
Yeah. Roll down. So the other thing is the reason why it could get that hot is you have to think of how our islands formed initially.
Yeah, volcanic.
Yes. So therefore, you have something peeks through the crust. Heats up to that area.
Yeah. All of a sudden, it gets sucked right the fuck down.
It shoots the methane gas up. Methane gas hits, reacts.
Yeah, all the air, pretty much all the air bubbles that got rid of from the methane just already creates because the water's got to fill that spot. So then the water comes down, and you already have that current. Where it's just like, it's kind of like Minecraft. You take like a chunk out of like the ocean, and you automatically, wormhole. Now this one I support to the fucking fullest.
Yeah, I do because of something else I'll talk about in a minute.
All right, so I've said it in previous episodes. If it scientifically, I mean, scientists back it up. Now it's not like scientific factual or anything like that, but I mean it kind of is. It kind of isn't. If alien life was going to be anywhere on this world, it would either be underwater, which is the most like space, or it'd be in like a crazy permafrost climate such as Antarctica and so on and so forth. So one of the biggest things is like, why aren't we able, if we have all these satellites in the sky, we have all these things going around, why are we not able to find these UFOs? Like, I mean, there's obviously the fact that we're being hid from them, but why are we not able to detect? We can detect a meteor coming like 40,000 miles away from Earth, but we can't detect something coming into our own atmosphere. So the theory about that is just, there's a wormhole underneath, which it shows up. I talked about the Russia one, in that lake, where it was just like these humanoid creatures underneath the water.
Yeah.
And then that kind of
That's not that far.
What do you mean?
Devil's.
Oh yeah, from the Devil's Triangle. Yeah, exactly. It's literally, actually, shit, dude. It's literally on the border of China, like right there, more of the southeast part of China, Russia, kind of like on that border of China before you get to Korea and shit. Damn, good point. I'm thinking about that. But the wormhole theory, I mean, dude, that would just fit so fucking perfectly. I mean, you have these disappearances. So, like I said with the Flight 19, these things disappeared. They checked where they should have been. They didn't see anything sunken. They didn't see any debris. They didn't see any of this. 50 years later, we go out and then boom, there they are right there. Now, we could not have had the greatest technology back then and so on and so forth. But the idea is like they went through the wormhole or something like that. Something happened, came back through the wormhole, and they got placed there. Yeah. There's also that multiverse type of theory type of thing too as well. But the wormhole, I don't know. Like you get all these sightings, you get all these things, and a lot of like if you dive into the UAP, the unidentified aerial phenomenon for the Air Force, a lot of the shit is just right above the fucking water. Yeah. Like, I mean, there's a lot of shit over land.
But a lot of it's over water.
Yeah, like a very large percentage of UFO sightings are all over water. So it's like you get like these tic-tac things moving and changing direction, doing all this, doing all that, and disappearing.
Sense too, because if you're utilizing, like let's say they're utilizing some type of cloaking, aspect where they're not able to be seen flying, their reflection still could be coming off of the water, which is why they're being seen more frequently over.
Yeah, over water, yeah. And there was another thing too, the Russia right off of somewhere in the Atlantic, back in the day, Russia, it was the submarines where they had 6 figures underwater traveling 250 miles an hour coming directly at them. These things rose up right up out of the water right above them, took off, gone, never seen again. So it's much easier leaving our atmosphere, getting undetected, than coming into it. Is the way and that's why you need a wormhole, or there's a secret base in the Marianas Trench or something. Who knows?
Marianas Trench, yeah.
Marianas Trench, yeah, Marina.
All right, so last but not least, the Michigan Triangle is also another scaling triangle. So it goes from Benton Harbor to Ludington, Michigan. Both those are in Michigan. Over to Manitowoc, Wisconsin is the triangle. So very similar to both the last two that you spoke on, massive amounts of shipwrecks. I mean, like ships just completely disappearing. They've took like the last like 15 to 20 years of just combing, and they found like multiple ships just disappeared like at the bottom of Lake Michigan. And so I don't know what that is, Lake Michigan, but anyways, so the paranormal activities and things seeing and disappearing started in 1679. Wow. So quite a long time.
Yeah.
So also I thought was another interesting one is, so you have I'm really interested to see what would be at the bottom of the Dragon Triangle, which is also considered the Devil's Circle or something.
You're not allowed to go there.
Yeah, I know. But the reason why I say that is at the bottom of the Bermuda Triangle, there is a crystal pyramid. In the bottom of the Michigan Triangle, there is a Stonehenge, which is very interesting. So, yeah, and there's also a boulder down there with a painting of a mastodon, which has been extinct for 10,000 years, which kills the whole, philosophy of this land wasn't, habitat.
Here, yeah, it was a frozen ice shelf.
Well, no. What I mean is like the theory of people on this side of the country, the world. It wasn't inhabited at that point in time. They just, migrated over at some point in time. But this is 10,000 years ago. There's, humans there. So some of the weird ones is Captain George Donner. During his ship was traveling through the triangle in 1937. and he went and told his second in command that he was going to take a nap to wake him up in 4 hours, and just disappeared. Not the ship, just him, gone. No sign of him going overboard. Nothing of his missing. Just he's gone. So that was an interesting one. Let's see. All right, so this is the one that. So Orient Airlines Flight 2501 disappears in 1950. No, 1950. Never to be found. So the funny thing, the never to be found, is I am more than certain. This is what I was looking for. I'm pretty sure I saw a video the other day where in Brazil, one of the flight towers saw an airplane was that they didn't see on radar. And the reason why they didn't see on radar is because it was built in the 1940s and 1950s. They finally radioed the pilot. The pilot asked them where they were, and they said in Brazil. And I believe it was Flight 2501, and they landed it. And they've been missing for 50, obviously 70 years now.
Wow.
I have to look at it again. Yeah. That's something they didn't want to hide, anyways.
Yeah, getting depth like crazy.
But that was kind of the whole wormhole aspect. Is maybe they hit it.
Yeah.
And then
these are our portals on Earth and shit like that, and then they ended up time travel. They end up shooting out another side of the world.
The interesting thing about Brazil is what a lot of people don't know is there's this Atlantic. I want to say it's Atlantic Triangle or something. There's like another triangle over like South America. That there's a lot of shit that happens in the atmosphere that we're not able to. So when NASA is talking to the space station, they won't even talk to them 2 times a day because it goes over that area and the communication gets so fucked.
I know what you're talking about. It's like right off the East Coast.
Yeah, but it's huge. It's over a lot of the country too.
I was gonna bring that up for mysterious things that happened there. When we brought up Hitler and shit, they believe Hitler sunk because of some crazy shit that they found in that little area that's like very South America, but off the coast, like probably 300 miles, 400, 500 miles, or maybe more than that, but from Antarctica.
Yeah, that covers a lot of that area. And then the icing on the cake, which was very similar to your Christopher Columbus one, is that there's a lot of unusual lights that go on over the lake that nobody has any reason.
Yeah, that's definitely a big thing. And they try to blame it on astrology, like almost like northern
Aurora
lights.
Borealis, yeah, northern lights.
Yeah, so shit. I mean, I definitely kind of I wouldn't say investigated, but definitely kind of seen a few videos. I want to say there was like a crazy Viking ship that was found in one of the Great Lakes.
Yeah, there was.
It was. Yeah, they dated back. Like it was like a pristine condition version of it and all this shit. So, damn. I mean, like this is what I was trying to tell. This is why I left the theories for the last part, because there's so many things that tie together. It's people go missing, ships there, whether or not be the full crew or just one guy.
Radar doesn't work properly. Communications doesn't work properly.
Damn, I forgot about that part. Fuck. That was all right. So that's a big thing. So they tried explaining the fact that the world is a globe, and in the Bermuda Triangle, like because it's about the magnetic field and all this shit, it's always supposed to point true north and so on. So as they move across this globe, like the true north, there's kind of angles that are like I'm not sure the way they try to explain.
This is true because true north is in Canada.
Yeah, but this doesn't explain if your compass has no reading whatsoever.
No, it does not. Now it would in the Michigan Triangle because that's not far from true north. So there could be some magnetic interference in that aspect.
Yeah.
But the other ones, it doesn't.
Yeah, I mean,
even if that was the case, you'd have the same problem in South America. You'd have the same problem in Africa.
Yeah, Japan, all that.
Different angles. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So I mean, that was actually something that wasn't mentioned. The Japanese one was the compass readings or anything like that. Everything was actually working, perfectly fine, connection, all that shit, and boom, gone. Damn, that's a fucking tough one. Michigan, dude, the Great Lakes. I mean, I know so much more. That there's so much more deeper history that goes into it. That's just fucking, I don't know, man. Like, I didn't really think it was gonna get. I mean, I knew it was definitely this was gonna be big with the triangles and stuff, but the similarities between it all, and like I noticed it when I was just researching this, like those two, but I didn't know it was gonna tie in with these, and it's like, I don't know. It's definitely a mystery, and like that's why I feel like I support the wormhole thing so much, because you bring up how 50 years, all this shit, like there has to be some type of thing. There's no reason. I mean, you could just put a triangle anywhere and say, hey, like there was this guy reported this, and 2 years later we got another report of the same thing, and so on and so forth. But when you have hundreds of reports, when you have
there's too many of them to
be deniable.
Yeah.
And I don't know, that's
and over too long of a period.
Mm.
You know what I mean? It's not like it all just happened at one short period of time where a lot of, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where a lot of people saw one fucked up thing that they didn't see correctly. This was well over 100 years.
Yeah, like the Thunderbird, it was a consistent evaluation.
Sighting, yeah, from multiple sources.
It's fucking interesting, and it kind of bugs me. It gives me a little bit of a headache not knowing, because, like, I don't know, we may know, we may never know.
But that's the point of this, and maybe at some point in time, it may not be soon, it may not be this week, but maybe at some point in time, you have somebody, just moseying along YouTube, find this, and is an expert in this, and just comments and says, hey, this is what's really going on. That'd be fucking fantastic.
Yeah, most definitely. I tried to... I didn't try to stay away from the pseudoscience shit, but I try to get more of the factual. Because if I was going to get into the pseudoscience part, it would just keep going crazy.
Well, and that's kind of how I wanted this episode. That's why I stayed away from it too. I just kind of bullet pointed it.
Yeah, because there's like the Atlantean shit with the
Bermuda. There's a lot of Atlantean with all of them. There's Atlantean thoughts with the Michigan. There's Atlantean thoughts with the Devil's Triangle. There's a lot of different, connections in a lot of different theories. So
a wide variety.
Maybe it's something we hit later with some 5 facts or something like that, and to kind of tie it into something else. But
most definitely. I mean, it's same as always. I mean, every video that we need more information released, and whether or not it will be released, whether or not will or won't be released.
We just almost guaranteed ourselves, 10 to 15 extra episodes, so it's not a bad thing at the end.
Yeah, that Brazil one, I do want to touch back on that, because we did talk about Hitler. I remember specifically, like, wow, that's rather interesting. Like, I'm pretty sure they literally used triangle. And it was just like, fuck, there was actually dialogue, there was even sightings, it was recent too. Fuck, well, I'll have to check it out, and we'll fucking talk about it. But that being said, after an hour and 12 minutes,
I will say that this went longer than I expected it to.
I gotta say, I thought we were 20 minutes in, to be honest. I didn't think we were 20. It feels like we're 20 minutes in. When I see 30 minutes at the 50 or the 5 fast facts, I was like, damn, goddamn.
Yeah. No, I know, but usually, because I knew we were sticking to kind of more bullet point-ish, not, I knew we were going to attempt to throw some theories out there, but this wasn't an episode for,
the prospering enlightenment. It wasn't for the outside critical thinking of, hey, like, not extraterrestrial, but, the Atlanteans. This wasn't like,
we're trying outside the box thinking. This was just, these are what these are.
Yeah, the curiosity.
Exactly. So I didn't really expect it to kind of take off the way it did.
Yeah.
I'm happy it did.
Yeah, most definitely. I'm sure they're happy as well. I mean, I think, with some time, a little bit more research, maybe we do hit that pseudoscience sometime.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we can also, at some point in time, we could also take, some favored videos from viewers and stuff like that, and flip them. So if they are pseudoscience, maybe hit them with factuals, and then if they are factual, hit them with the pseudoscience aspects.
Oh yeah. I mean, you kind of get both worlds.
Yeah.
If a logical person sees this, then they'd be like, oh, okay. But if I wouldn't say non-logical, but if a open-minded person sees this, like, oh, that's a interesting way logically to try to find.
Well, what would be cool too is also to break down the channel that way. Have like the 2 stream.
Yeah, pseudo.
The pseudo and factual or analytical, and then you have them choreographed with each other. So episode 1 would be, the Emerald Tablet and the Emerald Tablet, and then boom, 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 boom.
Emerald Tablet facts, Emerald Tablet truth.
Yeah.
That'd be something crazy.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
All right. Well, I mean,
you imagine you hit pseudoscience and then he pops up and it populates when you go to the channel. It says you have picked the truth.
You have picked the truth. Congratulations. Like
the red pill.
Yeah, that'd be something crazy. Like you hit the wrong one. It's like, sorry, you're unsubscribed.
It's all like red. Oh, you're boring. Well, so without further ado, we appreciate you guys dealing with us for an hour and 15 minutes.
Yeah.
I will have the subject of next week's show out probably Sunday, actually, this week. I have found myself
pondering with a lot of time.
Yeah, with quite a bit of free time. So I'll probably have that dialed in at that point in time. So you can expect something on Facebook at that time.
Yeah, this Wednesday was definitely on me. Wasn't really too sure about the triangle aspect, but it definitely just kind of hit, and I was like, that's exciting. So I'll take on the duty of posting it. If you want to come up with it, I'll post it for you if you'd like, just to kind of, not rehabilitate.
Reiterate?
Yeah, no, not reiterate.
I don't know where you're trying to go because I just had a fucking thought process of what we could talk about. But I'm not gonna put it in this video because we got to discuss whether or not we want to talk about it. So, without further ado, this was another episode of Relatively Thinking with your host Cody,
and I'm Shawnee Sean, and that's Sammy, and he's been cooling it. So y'all have a good night. Stay tuned for Sunday, and we'll be back at this shit again Friday, 9 p.m. As always, stay groovy.
See you then.
Deuces.